Hello, friends. The topic under consideration is nature of chemical bonding, and through this video lecture, we will focus on valence bond theory. Earlier was octet theory and octet rule, but there were some limitations we have considered. Valence bond theory is able to cover those, and in future again we are going to consider limitations of this valence bond theory, and then the core part, hybridization, concept of hybridization after this. Okay. What valence bond theory says is that there are few more points, but important I have written. Normally in our notes there are 8 to 9 points, but those will get covered in this discussion. Two atoms, and this is basically for covalent bond formation. So, half-filled atomic orbitals during covalent bond formation, the atomic orbitals of the two atoms, okay, the atomic orbitals, in short I will write this representative symbol, short form, the atomic orbitals. So for a covalent bond formation, what is the requirement? Atomic orbitals of the two atoms means each atom, a particular atom, the atomic orbitals of atom, it is applicable to both the two atoms which are under consideration: Cl2 molecule, HCl molecule formation, hydrogen atom, Cl atom, Cl atom, Cl atom, hydrogen atom, H2, such so many. The atomic orbitals of an atom in the, this is important, in the valence shell means outermost shell should be half filled. That is important. Half filled means single electron, and an atomic orbital, Pauli's exclusion principle. In a subshell there are atomic orbitals. P subshell has 3 atomic orbitals, D subshell has 5, F has 7 equal energy orbitals, S subshell itself is orbital, spherical symmetry, half filled. Okay, so it should be half filled, that is one thing, of one atom. That is applicable to another atom also. We can consider so many examples. We are going to consider few examples, and therefore half filled atomic orbitals. And then the important, the two half filled atomic orbitals of two atoms which take part in overlapping space overlapping must have opposite spins. Very simple example I will just take before you. If suppose that hydrogen, the electronic configuration is 1s1. It is written in this fashion also, 1s1. If one hydrogen atom, 1s hydrogen atom, half filled, formation of H2 molecule, the another hydrogen atom, it is half filled, but the spin should be opposite. If this one is clockwise, this one should be anti-clockwise. अपवर्ड लिहिला म्हणजे तो क्लॉकवाईज असं काही नाही. पहिला अपवर्ड लिहायचं पद्धत आहे. If this one is anti-clockwise, this one should be clockwise, and therefore overlapping will take place. An electron pair will be shared. H2 molecule formation takes place. Okay. So half filled atomic orbitals means single electron in atomic orbitals, and the two atomic orbitals of the two atoms, when they approach, they should have opposite spins. Then means opposite spins. This is important. Then we'll consider this. I'll write here. Very simple rules actually to understand, but we have to, while going through the topic, we have to consider once properly. That fourth point first. The number of unpaired half-filled single electron, unpaired electrons in the outermost shell, in the valence shell, is equal to the number of covalent bonds formed by that element with other atoms. Okay, atoms of other element. Number of unpaired electrons present in the valence shell, present in the outermost shell, is equal to the number. Just I am writing while I talk. Helps to listen and understand. Okay, equal to the number of covalent bonds formed by that element. Covalent bonds. I can cite an example. Let us consider example of nitrogen. Now nitrogen atomic number is 7. 1s, 2s, 2p, up to 2p we can accommodate 10, we have 7, therefore 1s atomic orbital. S subshell itself is atomic orbital. Okay. L equal to 0 has M equal to 0 atomic structure. 2s, 2px, 2py, 2pz. So 7, 1s2, then 2s2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now degenerate atomic orbitals means equal energy atomic orbitals of the same subshell. Hund's rule. Half filled first with parallel spins. All can be clockwise or all can be anti-clockwise. Parallel spins, same spins. 4, 5, 6, 7. Since last electron enters in 2pz means n equal to 2 is the outermost shell. 1 lone pair and 3 unpaired electrons in the outermost shell. 1 lone pair of electrons and 3 unpaired electrons. So number of unpaired electrons in the valence shell is equal to the number of covalent bonds formed. Here in the outermost shell, this is a shared pair, lone pair. It is not a shared pair. Okay, lone pair. And in the outermost shell, half filled means number of unpaired electrons, it is 3. And therefore routine valency, there are some exceptions and under certain conditions that in future we are going to consider. Let us be up to this, whatever we know up till now. Number of unpaired electrons in the outermost shell, it is 3. And therefore routine valency of nitrogen is 3. As we know, ammonia molecule formation, 3 bonds of nitrogen with hydrogen. So this is one important point, number of covalent bonds formed. And then equivalent energy and direction of orientation. So these simple but very important, first we should know the atomic orbitals of an atom, covalent bond formation, half filled, and when the two atomic orbitals of two different atoms approach, it can be H2 molecule formation, Cl2 or ammonia. When hydrogen atoms approach to form ammonia, the spins of each hydrogen atom should be opposite to what it is here. Okay, opposite spins. Okay, such examples in next means after this we are going to consider those type of examples, and then now we'll consider these two important points. So for that I need to remove this. Okay, yes. Yes. Atomic orbitals of equivalent energy. This we'll try to understand. Means, suppose that now in case of chlorine, for example, this in the next point we are going to consider in detail, but chlorine, as we know, single unpaired electron is present in 3pZ1. Okay, not write complete electron configuration. This is an example in the next lecture of sigma and pi bond. So two chlorine atoms with half filled single electron which is present in 3pZ, and the second chlorine atom again it also has 3pZ, single electron is present, but single electron half filled atomic orbitals of one chlorine atom means 3pZ atomic orbital of one chlorine atom. Chlorine electronic configuration, as we know, let me write it still, since chlorine is atomic number 17. The nearest inert gas symbol we can write to avoid the lengthy electronic configuration. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 up to 10 it is complete. Then nearest, the symbol of nearest inert gas we can write 10, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3s, 12, and then electrons go into 3p, 3px, 3py, 3pz. Just in short I will write 3p subshell, means 3px orbital, 3px, 3py, 3pz, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. So this is how this in the outermost shell, this 3pZ atomic orbital of chlorine atom is half filled, single electron. So Cl2 molecule formation, one 3pZ and the another 3pZ half filled but opposite spins. They should be opposite spins, and the overlapping takes place. The moment overlapping takes place, the probability of finding the electron in it becomes a shared pair, Cl2 molecule, this nucleus of one chlorine atom, nucleus of another chlorine atom, and electron pair is shared. Okay, the probability of finding the shared pair on the opposite side of the nucleus, it becomes very, very negligible, very, very small dot, but it should be seen to us, visible to us. Therefore reduced lobes we call it as. This is going to get repeated, no doubt. For the sake of understanding this, I have in short taken this example. Opposite spins, that is important, but means half filled, opposite spins, that is there. But the two atomic orbitals, since both are 3pZ, means energy point of view, they are same energy, and therefore the overlapping is possible. Means actually a shared pair and equivalent energy means equal energy here, since 3pZ of one chlorine atom and 3pZ of another chlorine atom, shell number is same and subshell is same, means the two atomic orbitals are of same energy level, equivalent energy. And the meaning is that means the opposite spin electrons nullify each other's effect, and both the electrons are of same energy level, therefore they exactly nullify each other's effect, and therefore giving rise to more attractive force, strong covalent bond. Okay, so every time sharing of electron pair or formation of covalent bond is not possible in same atoms. So the meaning of this is that atomic orbitals of the two atoms, they should be half filled, the electrons should have opposite spin. Then still the energy levels of the two atomic orbitals, it can be s orbital, it can be p orbital, it can be d orbital. Initially we take simple examples. The energy level difference should not be much equivalent, nearly the same equivalent energy, or we can say that nearly the same energy or energy level, the meaning. So what it means is that suppose that 2p of certain atom, 2p orbital, it can be 2px, 2py, 2pz, and 3s or 3p, we can say 3p, opposite spin. Okay, overlapping is possible. Now the extent of overlapping as compared to same, equivalent, exactly same, it will be less, but it is same. But this is possible. Bond formation is possible. Overlapping is possible. But 2p atomic orbital, for example, let us take p orbital. It can be s, p, d, and e, and 5p of another atom. 5p. Even though half filled and opposite spin, bond formation is not possible. Bond formation is not possible, because the atomic orbitals, although they are half filled, and although the half filled, the electrons, single electrons, unpaired electrons, the spins are opposite, but the energy levels they differ. N equal to 2 and n equal to 5, outermost shell, there is a large difference in energy levels of these two p orbitals, and therefore overlapping will not result in a strong bond. It will not take place actually. आता तुम्ही जरा विचार केला की असं का होतात, तर मुद्दा काय की शेअरिंग होतात म्हणजे काय होतात, when the electron pair is shared, they nullify each other's effect, and therefore ultimately in the molecule formation, because of that sharing, the repulsive forces decrease, and therefore ultimately resultant attractive forces increase, and the molecules remain together, the bond formation takes place. But energy level corresponding to shell number 2, and energy level means it can be subshell or orbital of that subshell. If the difference in the energy levels is this large, shell number 2 electron energy level corresponding to 2, so shell has some subshells, that subshell has some orbitals, but it will be closer to this, the energy level of the orbital, and energy level of the orbital taking part in bond formation of fifth shell will be closer to energy level of fifth shell, and therefore actual sharing opposite spin electrons, they nullify each other's effect. Here energy difference is large, and therefore this electron and this electron, these two cannot nullify each other's effect because the energy difference is very large. Means the sharing will not result in decreasing the repulsive force to that extent, and therefore attractive forces will not ultimately increase, so that the overlapping becomes strong and bond formation takes place. This is the meaning of that, the atomic orbitals of equivalent energy. 2p, 3p, okay, this difference of, there is an exception, but hydrogen 1s1, okay, hydrogen atom. Now hydrogen atom, it can form HF molecule, it can form HCl molecule, it can form HBr, even it can form HI. Means this 1s atomic orbital of hydrogen, 1s1, and here it is 2pz, here it is 3pz, here it is 4pz. So there is an exception. Hydrogen can form bonds with fluorine, chlorine. There are some exceptions, but in general, the two atomic orbitals, here s orbital of hydrogen atom and p orbital of halogen, if it is fluorine, it will be 2pz. In case of chlorine, it will be 3pz. Bromine, 4pz. If had it been iodine, 5pz. Okay, still the difference in the strength of the bond is there. HCl bond strength will be more than HBr. It is there, but bond formation takes place. So, for a good bond, strong bond, the two atomic orbitals, half filled, opposite spin, okay, those 2 points are minimum, all those factors are there. The energy level, it should be equivalent, nearly the same. Difference should be less. That is important. And then finally, we'll consider this directional orientation. Even that is important. Directional orientation. Yes. Now let us consider we are studying valence bond theory for a covalent bond formation. What are the requirements? Half filled, means single electron approaching atomic orbitals. If both are half filled, then opposite spins, and the two atomic orbitals, the energy levels should be nearly the same. Those points we have covered. And an atom, we took the example of nitrogen. It can be applicable to oxygen also. Number of unpaired electrons in the outermost shell. In nitrogen, in the outermost shell, 3 unpaired electrons. Therefore, nitrogen routine valency 3. Oxygen, it is 2. Number of unpaired in the outermost shell of oxygen, there are 2 lone pairs and 2 unpaired electrons. Okay. Chlorine forms only single covalent bond because in the outermost shell there are 3 lone pairs and 1 unpaired. Half filled is only 1 3pz atomic orbital. Okay, so even that was covered. Now we will focus on this directional orientation. Now let us consider 2 p orbitals and half filled, opposite spins, nearly the same energy. Okay, now overlapping on board I can show in so many ways. Now the moment overlapping takes place, the opposite lobe, if suppose that overlapping takes place on, and the lobes, this is the orbital, 2 lobes, this is nucleus, the opposite probability of finding the electron in opposite lobe, it becomes very negligible, and therefore it should be shown reduced. It should be visible, therefore a little bit larger we have to write, but it is very small. Okay, reduced, and the other atomic orbital, and now the overlapping has taken place. Now this is possible. Okay, nucleus of one atom, nucleus of another atom, atomic orbitals of the 2 atoms overlapping, a covalent bond is formed, shearing. Now overlapping between these 2, this is one possibility. Overlapping on paper, on board means I am writing on board, therefore this is possible on paper. Why not? Some will say, why not in this manner? In this manner. Okay. Now the atomic orbitals, they have shape, a definite shape, and a directional orientation. Directional orientation. Means what? We say that p orbital has dumbbell shape, and the 3 orbitals, they are 19, they are perpendicular to each other. If one p orbital is along x, then along the second will be along y, and third one will be along z, x, y, z. So what does that mean? It has certain shape, means the probability of finding the electron in the nucleus it is 0, but outside the nucleus the probability of finding the electron, somewhere it is less, somewhere it is moderate, somewhere it is very high. So according to that, the shape of the probability of finding the orbital means shape of the orbital. And directional orientation means x-axis. Suppose that one more unpaired electron is present in y, both are perpendicular to each other. So the atomic orbitals means the probability of finding the electron, the graph, it has certain shape, means probability of finding the electron around the nucleus at certain points, at certain points in the space where it is less, moderate or more. As per that, the shape of the atomic orbital. And directional orientation, in certain directions they are oriented. So such atomic orbitals and subshells with such atomic orbitals, when they take part in overlapping, there will be directional orientation. There will be, this will this will result in a fixed geometry, a fixed bond angle. So this is how valence bond theory was able to give a reason that molecules, during molecule formation, the molecule has a certain geometry and the bond angle among the atoms is fixed. That was not possible as per octet rule. The reason is very simple. Now we have PP, only we can consider these 2 possibilities. this one possibility, p orbital, atomic orbital of one atom and p atomic orbital of another atom, when they overlap, even this is there, but only when this possibility is not there. It takes place, the overlapping can take place in parallel way also, but this is not possible. This, in the next lecture, we are going to consider only if in those cases, if this overlapping is not possible. Okay, means what? P orbital, when it approaches in this manner, we call it as coaxial or linear. This is favored, not this, and this is exceptional. Okay, where even this type of overlapping is not possible. The example we are going to consider in future, just keep it aside, just have mentioned. Now, this is the nucleus. When atoms approach, both type of forces are developed, attractive forces and repulsive forces. Okay, I have just written the symbols. Or both type of forces are always developed. But if the bond is going to form, then attractive forces should be greater than repulsive forces. Now here, if the overlapping takes place in this manner, where the line joining the two nuclei, nucleus of one atom and nucleus of another atom, the line joining the two nuclei passes through the electron density. Means electron density, shared pair, electron density is in between the line joining the two nuclei. Means electron density is in between the two nuclei. Means when they come closer, overlapping takes place. Overall attractive forces are greater than repulsive forces. But when they come closer, the atoms, means their atomic orbitals, the two nuclei also come closer. Therefore, repulsion, because of that factor, repulsion increases. Overall attractive forces are greater. Okay, bond formation takes place. But separately, if we consider the nuclei of two atoms, they come closer. Because of presence of electrons which are in between the two nuclei, the repulsion between the two nuclei, it will not increase to that extent. Means because of presence of electron density which is in between the two nuclei, the repulsion between the two nuclei will decrease. Means it will not increase to that extent, that way. Okay. Therefore, this gives rise to more overlapping. Means strong bond. Now let us compare with this. This is the nucleus of one atom and the nucleus of another atom, line joining the two nuclei. So there is no factor which will decrease to a certain extent the repulsion between two nuclei. Here the electron density, the shared pair of electrons, since it is exactly in between the two nuclei, the repulsion between the two nuclei decreases to a certain extent. That factor is not present here, and therefore this gives rise to strong bond, more overlapping. So this will be favored. If this will be favored, geometry and bond angle will be fixed. Even we can consider overlapping between spherical s orbital and p orbital. Now if s orbital, it is spherically symmetrical, but p orbital with opposite spin, it can approach in this manner, opposite lobe will get reduced, but it cannot approach in this manner. The nucleus of two, line joining the two nuclei, electron density is in between the two nuclei, so this will be more favored. The line joining the two nuclei, to decrease the repulsion between the two nuclei, this electron density is not going to help. तो याचा अर्थ एक एस वाला ॲटॉमिक ऑर्बिटल ऑफ वन ॲटम अँड पी ॲटॉमिक ऑर्बिटल ऑफ अनदर ॲटम अपोजिट लोब रिड्यूस दाखवलं नाही. ओके, तर यांचं ओव्हरलॅपिंग असं होणं जास्त अपेक्षित आहे असं नाही. म्हणजेच काय की ॲटॉमिक ऑर्बिटल्स when they overlap, they result in डायरेक्शनल ओरिएंटेशन. त्यांची जॉमेट्री फिक्स असते, त्यांचा बॉन्ड अँगल फिक्स असतो. कारण का मग सच टाईप ऑफ ओव्हरलॅपिंग, लाईन जॉइनिंग द टू न्यूक्लिया passes through electron density, म्हणजेच इलेक्ट्रॉन डेन्सिटी इज इन बिटवीन द लाईन जॉइनिंग द टू न्यूक्लिया, असं असेल तर मोर स्ट्रॉंग बॉन्ड, मोर ओव्हरलॅपिंग, आणि त्यामुळं मग डायरेक्शनल ओरिएंटेशन त्याचं ओव्हरलॅपिंगच्या वेळेला ठरलेलं आहे. तर याचा अर्थ त्याच्या जॉमेट्री आणि बॉन्ड अँगल फिक्स असणार, शेप फिक्स असणार. दिस टाईप ऑफ ओव्हरलॅपिंग इज कॉल्ड एज कोॲक्सियल ओव्हरलॅपिंग और लिनियर ओव्हरलॅपिंग. इथंसुद्धा लाईन जॉईनिंग द टू न्यूक्लिया, इलेक्ट्रॉन डेन्सिटी इज इन बिटवीन द लाईन जॉईनिंग इन बिटवीन द टू न्यूक्लिया, लाईन जॉईनिंग द टू न्यूक्लिया पासेस थ्रू इलेक्ट्रॉन डेन्सिटी. त्यामुळं हे कोॲक्सियल ओव्हरलॅपिंग. आणि मग आम्ही पुढे जाऊन बघणार आहोत की कोॲक्सियल पद्धतीने झालेलं ओव्हरलॅपिंग शेअरिंगच आहे, कोव्हॅलंटच आहे. त्याला आपण सिग्मा कोव्हॅलंट बॉन्ड असं म्हणणार आहोत. ते एक्सप्लेन करताना त्याचं वेगळं लेक्चर बनवलं, तरी पण आता तेच आहे म्हणून थोडक्यात सांगितलं, सिग्मा कोव्हॅलंट बॉन्ड. आणि हे अजून पुढं बघायचं आहे, जस्ट ओझरचा उल्लेख केला होता की जेव्हा पीचं असं शक्य नसेल त्यावेळेला इन सम केसेस पॅरलल ओव्हरलॅपिंग, त्याला तो आपण पाय कोव्हॅलंट असं म्हणणार आहोत. तर ठीक आहे, मुद्दा काय, त्या ॲटॉमिक ऑर्बिटल्स ओव्हरलॅप होत असताना त्यांचे त्या ॲटॉमिक ऑर्बिटल्स हॅव डायरेक्शनल ओरिएंटेशन. तर सर्टन डायरेक्शनल ओरिएंटेशन गिव्ह राईज टू मोर अट्रॅक्शन, लेस रिपल्शन. जसं की कोॲक्सियल पद्धतीचं ओव्हरलॅपिंग, लिनियर ओव्हरलॅपिंग, पीचं एक्झाम्पल घेतलं, एकाचा पी आणि दुसऱ्याचा पी, पीचं घेतलं, एका ॲटॉमिक ऑर्बिटलचा HCl फॉर्मेशन वगैरे. तर असं होणार, असं नाही होणार. हा त्याचा अर्थ आहे. तर व्हॅलन्स बॉन्ड थिअरीमध्ये तुम्हाला बॉन्ड फॉर्मेशनच्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स कळाल्या, कोव्हॅलंट बॉन्ड फॉर्मेशनच्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स कळाल्या. हाफ फील्ड पाहिजे, अपोजिट स्पिन पाहिजे, नियरली द सेम एनर्जी पाहिजे, आणि नंबर ऑफ कोव्हॅलंट बॉन्ड्स कोणाचे 2 होतात, कोणाचे 3 होतात, कोणाचं एकच होतं, ते कशावर ठरतं, डायरेक्शनल ओरिएंटेशन. तर हे सगळे फॅक्टर्स आपण याच्यामध्ये बघितले. हा फार महत्त्वाचा मुद्दा होता. थँक्यू.